Tinubu must go. End bad governance. These hashtags have been trending these past weeks, leading up to the planned protest by Nigerians come 1st of August to run through till the 10th of August. What do we know about this protest? What do we need to know about this protest? So, thank you, Mr. Director. This is a flyer that I came across on, I think, on the 7th of this month, and it brought to my knowledge a planned protest. It says end bad government in Nigeria 2024 is a nationwide protest. Now, first things I noticed about this flyer is typographical errors, which questions the integrity of where this flyer is coming from. And I'm seeing Sorosoke Part 2. This is another sort of NSAS protest being planned to run for 10 days, right? So here's my take on this. Is there room for dialogue? Because that was one of the things that the NSAS protest lacked. When the government was trying to have a dialogue with the protesters came out and said they had no leadership. So who is the government going to dialogue with? And then is this just a hoax? Because I could sit down and come up with that flyer and post it and it makes sense to a lot of people and it just keeps trending and all of that. So, and then most importantly, what's the end game? They listed out a couple of things that I asked myself, are these things realistic? Are they attainable? And we want to stand and protest for 10 days nationwide. Do we want to see all of these things change? Do we want to see these reforms in 10 days? This leads to a lot of questions, and I'm going to be introducing to you my guest right after the break. But before we go on, remember, my name is Chinonso Chekwes, and we'll go right into the conversation on the planned protest in Nigeria come 1st of August through to the 10th of August right after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, Mr. Ejiro Unuata. A popular face on the show is my guest today. He's a public affairs analyst, and of course, he is a lecturer also at the City Polytechnic in Abuja. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you at such a time. There's so much happening in the nation. The country has been dramatic to a point. But today, I just want us to talk about the planned protest, right? We're all aware of this. It's been making the rounds. Governments are meeting and all of those things are happening. But first of all, let me ask you, are you a supporter of this protest?
Well, that would be putting me on the spot, actually. Protest is everybody's right.
Yeah.
And, so I don't see anything wrong with anybody going out to protest. Probably we'll just be on the background and see how it goes, because why I can't really come out publicly to say I'm going to be marching out there, because I don't really see the objectives. I want to know what are the objectives spelled out for this protest to achieve. Because a lot of persons are saying that, oh, this is coming in the fashion of that of Kenya. But that of Kenya, they came out with a well-planned objective. These are the things we want. We don't want, we want the tax. So in this particular situation, they are not telling us what they want to achieve.
Tinubu must go.
Tinubu must go. I don't think that's a tall order to achieve.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is democratically elected, so you can't just come and say he must go. I mean, there should be room for dialogue. You understand? So if you're saying Tinubu must go, I don't see that happening.
Said bad governance has to end.
How? How do you end bad governance? If the presidency come out to say, okay, we've heard you, we are going to end bad governance, how?
How are we ending bad governance?
So if they are saying, the electricity tariff, revert back to the old order, the fuel pump price, revert back to the old order, and all that, then we can understand you. Okay, we want to be part of this, but in a situation where there is not properly spelled out, like what you just showed now, so much graphical errors, and so that could make you really wonder who are the faces behind the protest.
That's another thing. We don't even know the faces behind the protest, and they've told people to go to your senators' offices in Abuja, go to the National Assembly, as the person spelled it there, go to the National Assembly. And so we actually may not have anywhere to go to here in Abuja. Like you said, do you have any suspicions of the organizers of this? Because the government has come to blame the opposition, and not just, we're not blaming the two oppositions right now. They have put it on the necks of particularly Peter Obi and his supporters.
Well, Bayo Ananuga said that Peter Obi and his supporters, it's quite unfortunate that we have such a person occupying such sensitive position, bringing out such kind of information, because that will be setting a particular region against the other regions. Because we know Peter Obi, his strong political base, he's from the east, and he probably, yes, he has supporters all over Nigeria,
Yeah.
but we know as an easterner. But for him to say Peter Obi, why not Atiku Abubakar?
Exactly.
All right. So why you just single out Peter Obi? Why? It seems more like hate.
Yeah, because we
All right.
have two oppositions.
Yeah. So I don't think Onanuga should really occupy that particular
he's
position.
been making a lot of statements that makes us wonder.
It doesn't really add up. It doesn't really add up. It's quite unfortunate because when you make this kind of statement, you're just pinching one tent against the other, saying that, oh, is the yes. Even the minister of FCT came out to say he's the opposition, but he didn't quite. I don't really think he called any name. But yes, let's look at the protest critically. Is it right to have a protest? Yes, you can have a protest, right? When you are aggrieved. Is the economy okay for Nigerians? No. So they have every right to go out and protest. So if you're saying Peter Obi, for me, I think Peter Obi should take it the right way because it's just making Peter Obi very popular.
What's the right way he should take it? He should leverage on this.
He should just leverage on it. Yes, he should come out with his full chest and say, guys, I support the protest, because he has not said so.
Yeah, he hasn't said so.
But Atiku Abubakar came out.
Damage to his political career.
Oh, no. Wait, what are people protesting for? If you say the economy is bad, is it bad?
Yes, it is.
So he can come out to say this economy is not working. I'm supporting the protest. See, in other clients like in Kenya and the rest, the opposition organized protests. Even in Ghana, the opposition organized protests. So there's nothing wrong with opposition organizing protests, because if a particular government is not doing well, opposition, they are there to checkmate the government. Okay, so it's allowed to organize protests. All right, that of Kenya, we saw at the end of the day what Ruto did. He sacked his ministers.
He has been doing.
Now he has been doing, yes, because it's a continuous thing.
So he keeps.
Now what he did was to give some section of his office to the opposition. That's what he did some few days ago.
Yes.
So you see, it tells you that they've been able to achieve something from the protest. They've been able to reverse the tax tariff and all that. They were able to achieve this. So in our own case, since we want to fashion our own protest with that of Kenya, what are we looking at?
Let me what's in there. You're saying we're fashioning it. So you think we're getting inspiration from Kenya? Because when Kenyans, when the youths, the Gen Zs that pushed for this protest, when they came out, we were likening their protest to that of ENSA. So it felt like Nigerian youths in 2020 set a precedent rather for protest, that kind of nationwide protest. Do you think that right now are we really going after Kenya? Or we're doing what the youths want to do?
That of Kenya is quite recent, because if we are to trace the history of protest, you could remember the Arab Spring.
Yeah, let's start.
So you see, so it's neither here. You can't really say
exactly.
So I think the whole world, there's so much crisis and people are protesting. It's one protest that will ginger the other, like they say in our local palace. So it will ginger the other to say, okay, we can't sit back and watch this happen. Let's go out there and protest. But you see, why protesting? I would like the protesters to be very careful, because we saw what happened during the NSAS. We saw how it was alleged that the government sponsored some thugs to attack the protesters, and the whole system, the whole process was hijacked. So I think people should be very careful. And the police have been making a lot of statements threatening people. You can't come out and protest and all that. I don't think that is the right way to go. Normally, the standard is the police will come out
Exactly.
and protect the protesters.
That's what we used to see.
So if they don't do that, I think they are getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Because even the police, they exist in the same economy with us. They use the same market with us. So what are you saying? Are you saying that now, so that takes us to a very dicey and dangerous corner, because we have two sets of persons now. We have the security agencies, we have the protesters. Both sides are hungry and angry.
And both sides seem to not be in agreement in this protest.
So imagine what can happen. Imagine the protesters who are hungry and angry. Imagine the security agencies hungry and angry meeting at a particular point. You God forbid what will happen.
Many questions to ask, right? And before we take a breather, the NSAS protest, did we make progress? Was there the outcome? Was it the expected outcome? Was there even an expected outcome? Because I know we probably would have ended the SARS, but the major issue there was ending police brutality. Did we achieve that?
You see, it was tag end SARS, right? And they were able to end SARS. That's a progress.
Yeah.
But there's no follow-up.
Okay.
Because police brutality, we still have police brutality going on. You see, so I think there should be follow-up. Follow-up in the sense that you try to still find out if people are being brutalized by police, because you're able to end one particular unit, but the same officers who are in that unit were moved to other. So it's just like a vicious cycle. You move them from here to another side. These are the same persons. There were no seminars to reform them, to have them think better and all that. So we're able to end SARS, yes, as a department in the police force. But what are the follow-up? Did it end police brutality?
So that's the issue. Follow-up. Who is doing the follow-up? The NSAS protesters came out and said they had no leader. So who is doing this follow-up? I know you have a lot, you have thoughts, but let's hold that thought and we'll come back to it right after the break. Let's take a little breather and we'll be back on Exclusive. Welcome back. This is still Exclusive with me, Chinon Sochekwes, and I'm still in conversation with Mr. Ejiro Onweta, a public affairs analyst, and we're still dissecting the planned protest for the nationwide planned protest for August 1st to 10th in Nigeria. So you had a thought before. Are you going to go back to that? Or let me just go to my questions. All right. So you talked about the police warning civilians right now not to go on this protest and all of that, but like we established in the past, what we see is they'll tell you when you're going on a protest, make sure that you have the police backing. You should actually write to the police, but
excuse me,
sorry about that, we don't see that happening right now. So let's say that this protest goes on. How can this protest be protected? assuming that the protest will be a peaceful protest?
Well, the police should be there
Okay.
to protect the protesters. We saw what happened during the EndSARS.
Yeah.
We saw how government agents used thugs to chase some of these protesters, and it wasn't really funny.
Mm.
It was gory because I witnessed some somewhere in Abuja here where someone was killed as a result of that particular incident, and it doesn't really make sense. I hope this time we don't see some Alaye boys coming to attack protesters. So I think the government should really ensure that everybody come out and protest peacefully. How can they do that?
Yeah.
Give orders to the police not to be brutal,
Okay.
to just protect these persons. Because they are coming out to protest peacefully, but we all know the situation we are in now. The harsh economic situation.
Yeah.
People are hungry and angry. And that means that some persons can actually take advantage of this protest to go after people's property.
Exactly.
You understand? So I think everybody should be vigilant, and the protesters need to be educated, enlightened. Okay? They should be enlightened that if you see somebody try to do something that is outside this protest, you should be able to call the person to order or call the security agencies, or because for me, I really I don't know how they are going to manage this, because some persons are just looking for this opportunity to attack, to go after people's property, to vandalize, to loot people's shop and all that.
Yeah.
So I wonder, probably they might just have a particular area where they go. Like in Abuja here, we have the what's it called now? The fountain. That's somewhere around Transcorp.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
people go and gather and just do their thing. I think if they have a place like that, yeah, everybody will just go and stay and do their protest. It will be fine, rather than just going around the whole street and all that. That could really cause something else.
We've had reactions. The Northern Governors Forum, I think, or some Northern youth or so. I can't really, I don't have the facts right now, but they have come out to say they support this protest. This morning, we also heard from the Afenifere representative came, and he too he wasn't saying if he supports it or not, but he was as well stating, yes, there is bad governance, there's this. What do we think that reactions has been, and how do you think it will affect this protest? And again, did it make any sense to put a date and say on the 1st we are coming out to protest?
You see, a protest that will be successful, you don't need a date. It will just erupt, and others will follow. But whenever there's a date, just know that I think it's political.
It's planned job.
Yes, it's planned. Somebody is trying to just put the government on their toes and something like that. But let me say something here, because the Ohanese came out to say they are not in support. Of course, they will not be in support. Because
Why?
if you check out, these are businessmen. A majority of persons from the
Yeah.
East are businessmen.
Yeah.
And if anything go wrong, they'll suffer more.
Yes.
All right? And that's on one side. Now, on the other side, because I happen to interact with a lot of persons, and what they've been saying is that during the EndSARS, it was the Northerners that refused to join the protest. And now they are calling all out, so we are going to protest. Why? Because they don't have a Northerner as a president. So that's hypocritical to them.
So this is having some geopolitical.
Yes, it's having some
fits to it too.
tribal,
Yes.
what have you, into it. So some persons are saying, we are not coming out. The other group are saying, we are coming out. And these guys are saying, oh, during the EndSARS, you say protest is haram. So what now changed?
What changed right now?
That you want to protest now? So you see, Nigeria, if Nigeria must work, we must do away with religious sentiment and tribalistic sentiment and all that. We must do away with those things, because hunger does not know who is a Christian, who is a Muslim, or who is Yoruba, who is Igbo. If you are hungry, you are hungry.
Yeah.
You understand? So if Nigeria must work, we must put all hands on deck to agree on something and achieve that thing. Because right now, some group are saying we will protest, other group are saying we are not protesting. And I can understand that. You understand? If Ohanese is saying Igbos are not protesting, we can understand that. In fact, of recent, the president just signed the Southeast Commission into law. So I don't think the Igbos want to even join
They don't
because
want
to an extent he has been able to settle
to
them.
settle them.
You understand? And now that takes me to another aspect I would like us to even look about, talk about the aspect of those who collected money during election
Yeah.
to vote for APC. You have no right to go and
come out.
protest. I'm serious.
No matter how bad it is biting them.
They've paid you up front. You see, that's the dangers of collecting money to go and vote. They've paid you up front. What do you expect the man to do? Is he a Father
They
Christmas?
didn't expect it this bad.
Oh, come on. Anytime you compromise yourself, expect something. Whatever you see, you take.
Yeah.
Now, they should not expect anything. They should just go and sit at home and enjoy what they've paid them up front. So that's what the money, that's what they are seeing now. So they should enjoy it.
So the talking about the government has been making plea to Nigerians not to come out. Some have pleaded, some are threatening, and they are saying we should still be patient. How more patient can we really
That
be?
is where the problem is. We were patient during Buhari's regime. Oh, they say it's just 4 years, we should be patient. Yeah, in the second term, he's going to achieve a lot. That's how we became patient. And these days, the patient dog don't eat.
Doesn't eat the fattest.
No, na hunger will kill him. You understand? So, being patient, I think the protest is in order because it will make the government to sit up. We saw how Ruto was able to sit up. So I think Tinubu should sit up. Okay, at this point, he should begin to look at how to cut down on governance. I know some days ago the National Assembly said they've reduced their salary to 50%. It's not enough. How about their allowances?
The allowances, because how much is their salary?
How much is their salary? So it's just like playing to the gallery. Tell us how much is your salary. Tell us how much are the allowances you get. Remove all the allowances. Yes, no more allowance.
Because that's where the money is.
That's where the
It's
money
not in your
is.
salary.
If you say, okay, cut our salary 50% because we sympathize with you guys, don't pay us our allowance, then we'll know you're serious.
You're serious about it.
We know that, okay, these people are feeling our pain. Not when you buy SUV cars. The other day, the president said they need a private jet, and then we just saw the vice president, his own residence.
His own resident, yeah.
This was the same thing that happened in Kenya that they protested.
And everything just keeps going.
Yes.
Everything just keeps going. Despite the inflation, we have seen news now of interest rates at what keeps going high. Everything. Nothing is becoming easier for us.
You see, you can't continue that way and expect people to be quiet. That's why I say the protest that will lead to revolution, you don't need a date.
Yeah.
It will just erupt and every other
To
person will
take
follow.
a hungry, angry man.
That is why the politicians should be very careful because these people knows your address. You can't live in isolation. They know where you live. Okay? We don't pray it gets to that. So this is the right time for them to do the needful. You know, some persons have been there for more than 12, 15, 20 years or thereabout. What are you doing for your people? It's not enough for your people to see your kids with flashy cars and they are hungry.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. But in a minute, assuming that this protest goes on, what word do you have for the protesters this time around?
Well, the thing is this. If you're going out to protest, be wise. Okay? Wisdom is profitable to direct. You should be vigilant. Okay, so that you don't get caught unaware. Because if you go out there and you see people looting people's shop and you join them and you get shot, you lose your life for nothing. So I think you should be very careful. And whenever you see something that is not in line with what your belief, what you stand for, I think you should just back off.
Yeah. Yes. What doesn't align with you, you should back up. So it means that we should move into this protest with an agenda, with your own principles and with your ideology. Don't just blindly go on protesting. Thank you so much, Adrian. This has been a great time with you. All right, so that has been what we can take on this episode of Exclusive. Tinubu must go, end bad governance. Is that enough for us to hit the streets? And of course, we know that this is going to ruffle the country a bit. For 10 whole day. So we thank God it's not a strike. So we'll still have power and still have businesses running. All right, thank you so much for sticking with me till the very end of Exclusive. My name is Chinonso Chekwes, and until I come your way again, be good, be safe, and have a